Hi guys, Lego Animations here, and today I'm going to be talking about how Hermitcraft might actually be classified as an anarchy server. I was getting curious about this as while watching Hermitcraft Season 7, Green went on a lot about there being no actual rules on Hermitcraft, so I was wondering, did it actually classify as an anarchy server such as 2b2t? So at first glance you would not think Hermitcraft would be anything like 2b2t, as obviously it's not a barren wasteland. Shown by my thumbnail, you can see on one side really beautiful Hermitcraft builds, and on the other side anarchy, basically the spawn of 2b2t. So today I want to find out, using the definitions of an anarchy server in Minecraft and anarchy, and also looking at what the actual players do, does Hermitcraft classify as a Minecraft anarchy server? So that's what I'm going to be doing to see if it does classify through the definition of anarchy and the definition of Minecraft anarchy server. Let's get into that now. So as you can see on the screen now, I looked up the definition of anarchy and the definition of a Minecraft anarchy server, and the definition of anarchy is a state of disorder due to the absence or non-recognition of the authority or other controlling systems. So you could say Hermitcraft has a controlling system from the mayor, but that doesn't really count because he makes no laws. It doesn't really, as we saw in the Mycelium War, he doesn't have much power over the people. So I think Hermitcraft definitely considers as anarchy in that sense of the second part of the definition, but there's no state of disorder. But if we go on to the second definition of anarchy, it's the absence of a government and absolute freedom of the individual regarded as a political ideal. So I think Hermitcraft definitely applies to that. But then obviously that's probably different when we go on to a Minecraft anarchy, when we look up the definition. So when we go on to the anarchy server definition, which I have up now, it's widely considered an anarchy server is one with few rules, if any at all. Here players are free to scam each other, grief each other, build, and even use Minecraft clients with built-in cheats, but that's only for some cases. So mostly it's just with no rules, so you're allowed to do anything in vanilla Minecraft. So that means, yeah, so it's quite a harsh environment, which I don't think Hermitcraft is. So I don't know if it really applies to this definition, as it is, as Green says also in his, when he talks about the rules, he says there's gentleman's rules, which don't really count as rules, but I bet you would get kicked off Hermitcraft if you scammed or griefed other people's builds. So I think it probably doesn't apply in that way. But let's get on to the next topic. So now is probably the most important part of this sort of section, as the most where I got this idea from was what Green said about the rules, as he tried to show this by building a secret base in someone's base. So I think the most important part, which I'm going to do now, is look at Green's videos and the clips from those videos, showing what happens on Hermitcraft and how that could be considered by as an anarchy server. So first we'll go on to the first clip of, I think, episode 66 or something, where he shows where he talks about how there's no rules on Hermitcraft and that basically you can do everything, and shows his plans, tells us about his plans for his secret base in Impulse's base. So we'll get onto that now.
Now you see, on Hermitcraft there are no real rules, but we do have gentleman rules, okay?
So in that clip we can clearly see Green says literally up front there are no rules on Hermitcraft, which supports the idea of an anarchy server. But then the problem is, he says there's gentleman rules, which obviously there would be gentleman rules on an anarchy server such as 2b2c. Like if you're in a faction, then you would be expected not to grief the faction's base and stuff like that. So I think it, but then the fact that that whole server applies to them might take away from the sense that it is an anarchy server. But then he also said there's gentleman's rules, which he goes on to say, like, that you can't steal from the shopping district, stuff like that. So that does sort of mean that, as there's no gentleman rules, that as there are gentleman rules, sorry, that it can not really be considered as an anarchy server, because there are some rules going on, and they apply to basically everyone. Like, obviously they're not written in stone, but they're still rules. And on 2B2T, if you had a shopping district, you would be 100% allowed to steal from it. So now he goes on in Impulse's base while he's making the secret base to explain more on this topic, and I'll go to that clip now.
Oh, I've got myself a very modest looking space, okay? This is very modest. It's a very very small nook and cranny. So here we are. I mean, you can't see me, but that doesn't mean I can't see you. I'm proving the rule wrong. Here I am, messing with someone's base. Oh my goodness, Grian has broken the rules. No, this rule doesn't exist. You guys made it up.
So there we see Grian building in Impulse's base without his permission. It can definitely be seen as grief, because griefing is, well, he's changing / messing up someone else's base. But obviously Impulse doesn't mind, but at that moment it could be seen easily as griefing, as he's changed it in a way he hasn't, and also destroyed some of the base. So but then Grian also says that rule is made up, so it also shows that lots of the rules on Hermitcraft are made up by the community, and there's no rules brackets on Hermitcraft, as Grian tries to prove in that video, that basically all hermits can do whatever they want as long as it abides, as long as it's probably not illegal, and just abides by those gentleman rules that he was talking about. So now I want to apply that to the definition in the third part and my conclusion, to see if it really is an anarchy server. Okay, so now with all that evidence, I'm going to really come to a conclusion here. So firstly, what I saw is as that photo that I showed you earlier of the 2B2 spawn, and also of the Hermitcraft. I'm going to bring up one now of the Hermitcraft shopping district. You really wouldn't think either of them are in any way really similar. But so I think the ground rules of Hermitcraft are the same as 2B2T's probably. But the gentleman rules, and also the fact that the people who are on it, that really make the difference, I think. Because if say, I don't know, say the 2B2T community was put on Hermitcraft with those rules, it wouldn't exist like that. And also in all the clips that Grian says about there being no rules and there being gentlemen's rules, that you sort of had to have a gentleman to have gentlemen's rules. So that means that I think there definitely are not rules on Hermitcraft, and it could be seen as an anarchy server, but it isn't overall, because well, basically it isn't, because there are people on it. The people on it aren't sort of acting like anarchy. Going back to that definition at the beginning, it's where there's chaos. There is definitely half the definition, but there is not the chaos aspect that Hermitcraft just doesn't have. So if you put Hermitcraft in a 2B2T setting, then there would probably be who would easily be classified as a complete anarchy. But when you put it in this setting of basically Minecraft YouTubers getting together, building stuff together, then it really just doesn't turn out as an anarchy server. I think that's really the conclusion, that Hermitcraft, although in principle it's an anarchy server, it isn't actually, as it doesn't have that second part of the definition where you need to have, where there is definitely certain element of chaos in the server, and which just isn't there in Hermitcraft. So thanks for watching, guys, and please like and subby. Bye.